From the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper, this is Out and About Today.
Happy New Year and welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. It's our very first show of 2018 and we're looking ahead to the stories, events, and entertainment that will shape the year. I'm joined by Chuck and Pam and Tennessee Equality Project President Chris Sanders. Let's get started. Welcome guys. Happy New Year.
Everybody.
Gosh. Well, in that vein, we're all happy. So are you pessimistic or optimistic about this year ahead? And let's go with you first.
Okay, I'm cautiously optimistic, a little more optimistic than I was last year. I mean, this has been a roller coaster year,
okay.
But I think a lot of us are mobilizing even more so, and I think getting more involved because we have to.
And we're going to dig in deeper in a minute on some of those things, but just quickly, are you optimistic, pessimistic?
Optimistic, have to be.
Okay, Chris?
I'm with Chuck, cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. I like that. That's very political. So that will lead us right into our next discussion. So, well, here's another positive tidbit. At the end of last year, Doug Jones was elected in Alabama as a state senator, as a U.S. senator. So we have a little bit of a relief.
That's right.
What was your reaction to that night? Did you guys watch the election returns? I know I did.
Absolutely.
Pam?
I watched them on my phone and I was worried at first and I was surprised. I thought it'd go the other way, so I was just...
Were you surprised because maybe Trump was able to be elected in a similar vein, like and it didn't work again?
Well, the numbers before, which I clearly you can't always trust, but I think it looked like it could have went the other way.
Yeah.
A lot of people just, you know...
Well, and being burnt after the whole Hillary is definitely going to win, and then she didn't kind of thing. You know?
Right. And I mean, Jesus was falsely accused, is what I kept hearing.
That's right.
Yes.
So
We kept dragging him into the conversation.
I know. So I was pleased, though.
You know, somebody said something, and I thought this was interesting. They said they had a family member who's a young millennial down in Alabama, and she said, well, I can't vote for Doug Jones. She said he's for abortion. You know, I mean, they always trying to, and then the friend said, it's not that he's for abortion, he is for the choice. I mean, it's for legalizing. It's like people, and you don't realize how they spin it so often.
Well, she's just she's talking points. She's just repeating talking points.
Well, what we don't realize is talk radio is so powerful in a lot of the rural South. What's syndicated across a lot of those markets really is absorbed. So what you said is right from the mouth there.
But with this election, it got me to thinking once again, because I even said this last year after the election, that the thing I'm looking for is the midterms. So Chris, you're over there shaking your head. Phil Bredesen's in the race now. We had James Mackler in for a while, and I think he's dropped out to maybe put his support behind Bredesen. What do you guys, how are you feeling about these midterm elections, not just in our state, but across the country?
There's a lot of possibility for real head-to-head, a real partisan clash here this time. And it won't be as one-sided. I think you'll see resources evenly matched by the two parties and people digging in hard and fighting hard. So we will see the most contested races this state has seen in a long time.
Well, yeah, because Bredesen may be running against Marsha Blackburn, which we may find equally as offensive as Roy Moore at times, but maybe she's not, and maybe others don't see her that way. So it could be a more difficult race. What about on the House side, the U.S. House side? Is there anything there that you're seeing or hearing or can project?
There may be some primaries, but for the most part, I would expect things to remain the same. Two Democrats out of Tennessee's delegation and the rest Republicans.
Now, as far kind of looking back to Phil again, Phil Bredesen, I mean, he do you guys feel as though he is the only one who could probably win a statewide election here in Tennessee as a Democrat? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Do you think he can pull it off, Pam?
I would like to know what Chris thinks.
Chris is trying to be very.
I mean, he's in the know, but I'm going to say yes. Of course he can.
I think he can. I think the other Democrat who can win statewide is Carl Dean. There's this strange perception that he can't win in rural areas, but he's been campaigning very hard in rural areas and well received. Craig Fitzhugh has a rural background and can do well in rural areas. It'll be interesting to see how responsive people are in urban areas to him. So I think the Democrats are fighting as hard as the Republicans this time in those races, and I think it's anybody's guess at this point.
Well, and thank you for bringing up Carl Dean, because that's for the Tennessee governor's race. And there's he and Craig Fitzhugh are the two Democrats against a slew of Republicans, and of course there's some popular names here. We've got May Beavers, Diane Black, Randy Board, Beth Harwell, Bill Lee. I mean, we've got a lot of Republicans there, and what I'm seeing is a lot of, well, frankly, money behind them. Do you think we can compete with that? I guess what I'm saying is, do we each need to get involved again and stay involved and help as an individual?
yes, everyone should get involved, and that includes LGBT Republicans. You know, I mean, you can laugh at that option, but we need our community involved wherever they feel most comfortable, because whenever we're involved, that increases the likelihood that our policy issues will advance. Now, we all know at this setting that the vast majority of our community are vote Democratic, so I would expect a lot of LGBT folks to get involved in those campaigns.
Excellent, excellent. So, did you guys have anything else to add on the governor's race?
No, but I do think it's time. For me, I spent last year just kind of, I had a punch in the gut like a year ago. We're all kind of like Debbie Downer. And I took a step back and really unplugged a lot. And I want to step back in and plug in a little bit because, I mean, you have to, right? And there's plenty of opportunities this year to do that. I know we're going to talk about that.
No, but
I just think even going back to the Doug Jones and more, you know, contest, to me, that did give you hope in an area that we were probably looking at ahead of time going, can't stand this guy, but unfortunately he's probably going to win in that red state. But that at least showed you that when the right people get mobilized and get inspired, it can happen.
And people get out to vote. I mean, even though he won and it was not within the realm of a recount, 20,000 votes is still not a lot of people. You know, I mean, every race these days seems to be neck and neck. So, I mean, again, going back to that's why I was asking Chris. I mean, it's important for everybody to get involved in some way, and just paying attention is getting involved. You know, like vote. Anything else on that front before we move to the next topic?
No.
Okay, we've got just a couple minutes left, and I wanted to shift gears a little bit. Some of these things we're going to talk about. You know, we're taping a little early, so we may not have a lot of time to get into them, but just real quick, the Supreme Court case with the cake and whatnot. Any thoughts on that, real quick? Anybody on how that's going to go?
Well, it's not looking good for us. You never know until they cast their votes and make their decision. But I will tell you, in Tennessee, we don't have public accommodations protections for our community as it is. So while the case will not be good for us, it won't have an immediate impact, but it could have filter down impacts over the years.
Well, thank you, and we got to go to break, but we'll be right back with more conversation, and we'll share more about each of these stories on our Facebook page as breaking news and updates occur. And stay with us. We'll be right back.